We're going to get nerdy tonight with Hollywood, so let's fire up MMANA and get our far field plots on next on Live Free and Ham. Hello and welcome to the Live Free and Ham podcast. This is our weekly show where we discuss ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, Florida, and beyond. We're thrilled to have you here. So whether you're a regular listener or you've been tuning in for the first time, well, thank you again for joining us the episode and being part of the Live Free and Ham community. So as we always like to do, let's get into the show. I'm your host, Eric, call sign N1JUR, and I'm with my co-hosts.
It's Paul, N1OG.
And Todd, W1STJ.
And we have a special guest this evening.
That would be me.
That's you.
And more to come. All right, cool. Looking forward to it. So before we always like to get into our topic this evening and all of our other wonderful segments, we want to just let you know how you can be part of the Live Free and Ham community. And there are a number of quick, easy ways you can always connect with us on Discord. Visit the Live Free and Ham, and that Discord link is in all of our descriptions and the show notes and on our website. So head on over there and grab that and come be part of the community. You can always leave us a voicemail, and we actually have one today to share with you. So we're excited to dive into that. But if you got maybe a question or you've been racking your brain and you need some help, feel free. Pick up the phone, dial 978-233-1142. Leave us a quick voicemail, and we'll play it on our next episode. And as Paul always likes to say with that, you can always call us for a good time, no doubt. And if you're an All-Star user, we love to have you on and come be part of the Live Free and Ham All-Star Hub, and that number is 580-871. And as always, we've got the monthly live stream coming up. And when this episode airs, which will be in about a week or so, we will actually be in December. So be prepared for the Shack Roast that's coming up. So what does that mean? Well, if you're listening to this episode now, you've already missed the window, my friend. And the Shack Roast is already closed down. And we've already gone through some of our entries there. So be prepared to come cheer us on and watch our special panel of guests tear into each of those shacks in their own unique way and scoring system and see which one comes out on top. So with that, you can always help us support the channel by visiting us on our storefront at livefreeandham.com/shop or become a Patreon member. And all our Patreon members always get all of the benefits of the episodes before they're released, discounts and merch, access to our free Patreon live stream like it is tonight, and a bunch of other great things as well. And so, as Bob always likes to say,
you can join for as little as $3 a month. It's not a big expense.
Oh, he was disappointed. He called me and he said he wanted that clip before it last week when you played I can't remember what that one was before, and then you played this.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Join
All right.
for as little as $3 a month. It's not a big expense.
It's always nice. You play it twice, right? All right. So like I mentioned earlier, just a quick reminder, obviously the Shack Roasts, we are already locked in with all of our entries, and our panel of Patreon judges are mulling over all of the entries there for each of the categories. So hopefully someone comes triumphantly out for each of those categories, and we'll reveal them, obviously, scheduled sometime soon in December. So keep your eye out for that. Make sure you subscribe to that channel of ours and, ring that bell when you get notified. And so we're going to
say December 20th. Yeah.
Did we decide that? I wrote it down and then I've lost the piece of paper. So it's December 20th. There we go. Thank you, Paul. I knew somebody had that number down. So the December 20th is going to be our Shack Roast. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you get it on your calendars. And I thank you for updating me on that, because I wrote it down. I was like, what was that? The 12th, the 20th? Paul to the rescue, my friend. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we have got our usual segments here. So let's kick off the mailbag.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Hey everybody, we got some news.
Slow down, Boog. Let me handle this. We've got some news. I've got bad news and bad news.
I have reviewed ship's personnel, Captain.
Congratulations, you've got mail.
All right. Well, this is our mailbag segment here, and we actually have something in the mailbag or voicemail system for whatever you prefer. So, Todd, throw it over to you, my friend.
All right. Well, we got a voicemail. Can you play it?
I can.
It's a good voicemail,
too. Is James, KI5OEB. And I haven't called you guys, but you've probably seen me on YouTube, YouTube chats and things like that. You guys run a great podcast. but I was going to weigh in on what Todd is saying about the step from general to extra. I am a general studying for my extra, and I don't disagree with Todd in most.
What happened?
I still get to operate in most of the bands in most of the areas as a general, and there is a point where I just said, forget it. I can't do this right now. I don't have time to study, and I pushed it back. I've only been a ham since, basically, I guess I'm a COVID ham, and I've only been a ham for a little while, but I have experience and knowledge in the field as a Air Force maintenance person and some other life experiences. But anyway, the point is you don't have to have an extra to play really hard in the ham or amateur radio service. You just don't have to have it. And I love my POTA. You can look me up on the POTA page, and it's just, if you want the next level of going to have to go through that little bitty hoop that really sucks. Because I'm with you. If you don't have time to look at all the study materials and such. Anyway, before I time out the voicemail, I will say 72s as a QRP kind of guy. And you guys have a good one on Live Free and Ham podcast. And I'll hear this in a few days. Thanks, guys.
So that's awesome. And I didn't even have to pay him to say that. He just did it all on his own.
Or you didn't?
No, I didn't pay him. But you know what? He makes some very good points. You can do a lot of ham radio. I mean, everything that I love to do on ham radio, I'm doing with my general.
Yep.
The extra is just I guess it's a bonus. And I am.
It is?
Well, isn't it in the name? It's an extra.
Yeah, I know, but it's
extra real about it.
Like, I'm not going to go on to a 80-meter ramp, but like he's saying, it's a lot of stuff that I'm never going to use, and most people just memorize the shit and they don't really learn it. So what's the point of making it so hard? And as I was studying today, by the way, there were 4 answers that were like 1 word difference in each one. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. 1 word.
Fantastic.
I was like, what the So, I don't know. It is what it is. I'll get it eventually. I'm up to 77% efficiency.
Not bad.
So
you're way ahead of Leah Nass at this point.
I might break the app because I'm running out of tries. Because like on the app it says like X check X check X XX check. When you get them right. Well, I don't know how many more spaces it's gonna fit because I'm almost at the end.
How do we know that the show is going to become a QA?
How many questions? I've seen the questions so many times. I just suck at taking tests. And like I said, I study for a while and I get really good at it and I stop and then but I am remembering some stuff. So, but thanks for the voicemail, dude. It's awesome. I appreciate the support, and I'm a COVID ham myself, so could have just been me sending that voicemail, but it wasn't. So.
It was your brother.
It wasn't my brother. It's my brother from another mother.
Oh, dude, yes. Well, James, you are 100% right. I will agree with you and Todd on this statement. You don't have to be an extra. Like there's no major benefits to going that level. I mean, unless you've got some DX aspirations and you might need that capability. But yeah, hey, enjoy being general. And
the only time I really wish I was an extra is when I'm sitting at the shack. It's late at night and someone's having a conversation that's really interesting and people are joining in and I look over and they're just over into the extra band because the general band is jam-packed with a bunch of people ranting and raving about stuff. But in the extra band, they seem to talk about more interesting and it's quieter. So that's why I want to get my extra.
It's the intellectual section. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, it's all the smart dudes. And I just want to join into there so I can get smarter.
Well, you can just listen and you get smarter that way too. So
yeah. Anyway, but thanks for the voicemail. Eric sent it to me last week, and I thought it was going to be a dig on me, and then when I heard it, I was like, "This is awesome."
We're gonna have to tally up all of the ones that send the life preserver saves for Todd.
Team Todd. Here we go.
Great, we've got another.
Nobody needs to separate Paul and Todd. They can't get along.
Put them in the ring.
We get along just fine.
Yeah, we do. We razz each other hard sometimes. So all good there. Well, dude, that was awesome. Thank you again, James, for sending that voicemail in. And just like James, there's no reason why you can't pick up a phone and dial our phone number. And our phone number is 978-233-1142. Leave us a voicemail. Tell us your thoughts on whether or not Todd and James are right or wrong. Or, if you got something else you want to share with us, please, hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you again, James, for sending something in this week. All right. So with that, I don't know, we should just roll right into this because maybe Todd might do a 3 for 3 this week.
Yeah, don't count on it.
Let's go into it.
It's everyone's favorite segment.
And now, a little something extra with Todd. W1STJ.
Still the general.
All right. Well, you've heard it here, and you've heard it obviously with conversations of other people in the Live Free and Ham community. This is where we help Todd study for his extra class, but you don't have to study for your extra class. Maybe you're going for technician to general, which we're going to encourage you to do, or maybe you're just getting in the hobby and you're starting now. Heck, the best way to do that? Well, hey, we all use hamstudy.org. It's a phenomenal resource when it comes to helping you prepare for your test, and it's recommended by 4 out of 4 volunteer examiners every day of the week, including Sunday. So without further delay, I hand it over to our VE Quizmaster, Paul. Take it away, sir.
All right. Todd, today's first question comes from sub-element number 8. And the question is, how does ARQ accomplish error correction? Is it A, if errors are detected, retransmission is requested? B, if errors are detected, redundant data is substituted? C, special polynomial codes provide automatic correction? Or is it D, special binary code provides automatic correction?
And Hollywood, if you'd like to jump in after Todd answers, feel free. Because
of course, this one wasn't on anything I've seen in the last 2 weeks, even though I'm studying all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I think it's C.
Hollywood, would you like to chime in?
I don't have a clue. I only fix 50 kilowatt transmitters.
Oh, there we go. That solves that problem. Oh, man. I'd have to go with A. I'm almost positive it's an error correction. Obviously, it's in the name.
All right. So Todd said C, and C is incorrect. Eric said A.
Ooh, my motor days still stick correct. With me. Bring on AOL.
The correct answer is, if errors are detected, a retransmission is requested. And so to further explain, in automatic repeat request ARQ systems, the transmitter sends the data and also an error checking code. The receiver checks for errors and requests retransmission of erroneous data. The key thing to understand is just in the name, automatic repeat request, sometimes automatic repeat query. It automatically requests that the packet be retransmitted when it detects that the previously received packet was corrupted. So your hint, when you see ARQ, think request.
That's good.
Maybe that'll help you.
Okay. Or just when it says error correction, just remember retry. Fix the error.
Question number 2.
Oh, no, not this
evening
one.
Comes from sub-element number 7. And the question is, how many flip-flops are required to divide a signal frequency by 16? Is it A, 16, B, 4, C, 8, or D, 6?
All right.
We have had this one before.
Yeah, yes, I know. I'm going to go with C. It's definitely not. Or is it 4? It's either C or B. It's not.
Your antenna don't pick up all the channels, does it?
Come on, dude. Help yourself.
Your cornbread's not quite done in the middle.
It's not.
Come on, you know this. You know this. We do this every
Flip-flops are
time.
divided a signal frequency by
2, 16 multiples. I can't help you any further. Come on. Not in half.
How many flip-flops are required to divide a signal frequency by? Oh, it's got to be 16. It's the only one. 4, 8, 12. I don't fucking know. All right, go with B. It's B or C?
It's B.
B.
Final answer.
Please.
Yeah, B.
Hollywood, I assume you're dealing with transmitters. You'd know this.
Never.
Never?
Look at this. This is a professional.
wasn't on my-
This is a very private
This is a
man.
professional who does this for
my
a
homework.
fucking living, and he doesn't know the answer. Again,
He
stupid
does.
question.
He is way ahead of you anyway. I know he knows it.
Go 4 B.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Todd.
Woo-hoo.
Yes. The correct answer is B, 4. And to give you further explanation,
Reinforcement.
in case you don't remember the 5 or 6 times that we've had this question on the show.
You've said
Just
16
in
each of
case
those
you need
times.
another black eye.
Yes. Inserting a flip-flop into a circuit will divide the input signal by 2. Therefore, to divide a frequency by 16, you simply need 4 flip-flops in series. Simply take the base 2 logarithm, right? So log 2, 16 equals 4. Then there's the formula.
Yeah, that gets too complicated.
Yeah. Just remember, flip-flop is always 2, and you have to get up to 16. So you need 4 of them to get there.
All right. Well,
Good.
so far, Todd, you're 50%. You're 50%. You're 1 for 2.
Todd, you have my sympathy.
Third. Go ahead, Hollywood.
No, I was just saying you have my sympathy. This stuff, I'm sorry, but I have to go there. I don't understand why these are even part of the exam. I really don't.
Thank you. See, Paul, it's not just me.
No, it's not just you, Todd. No.
I don't disagree with all of you guys. I just like Raz and Todd.
Memorize them as best you can, pass the test, and then you're going to learn ham radio after you get the test.
We say that to him all the time, Hollywood. It just, he gets hung up on the testing. And, half of our listenership drops off after this, apparently, according to our stats. But I can't prove or disprove that either. But
look at Hollywood. I've got people calling me, texting me, coming up to me saying, please don't ever get your extra. You're helping tons of people, and we love this segment. So if I get my extra, the whole podcast is going to fall apart.
We'll cave in. Thank you. Although I do like Mike's marketing scheme here. Use code FlipFlop and save log 2 on purchases from the Live Free and Ham Cyber on Cyber Monday. Nice job there, Mike. Okay.
All right.
Last question.
The third and final question. Okay. Comes from sub-element number 2. The question is, how do ALE stations establish contact?
We've had this one too.
Is it A, ALE constantly scans a list of frequencies activating the radio when the designated call sign is received? B, ALE radios monitor an internet site for the frequency they are being paged on? C, ALE radios send a constant tone to establish a frequency for future use? Or is it D, ALE radios activate when they hear their signal echoed back by scatter?
All right, I'm going to go I believe it's A.
Mm-hmm. I believe so, sir. You are correct.
All right, Todd. Final answer is A. ALE constantly scans a list of frequencies activating the radio when a designated call sign is received. Is correct.
Trifecta for this, buddy.
And now I got to hear the damn song.
You got to hear the song. You screwed that pooch tonight.
See, Hollywood,
So for those
I can't win. If I
He doesn't have to sing the funky chicken.
If I
No,
get all of them
he's
wrong,
worse.
I'm a
Meatloaf.
loser, right? If I get them all right, then I'm good. But if I get 2 out of 3, I got to hear the Meatloaf song.
Mm-hmm.
And normally when I get 3 out of 3, Eric misses one, and we still got to
Still
get
get the song. But I'm still an extra. Either way.
So for those that may not know, ALE stands for Automatic Link Establishment, which is the standard for transmitting, for digitally initiating and sustaining HF radio communications in an automated manner. You can think of it as an automated way of calling a specific station and answering that call. When attempting to call another station, an operator enters an ALE address into the radio. The calling radio selects the idle channel, the frequency in its list, and transmits call messages. On the radio waiting for the call, ALE constantly scans a list of frequencies, activating the radio when the designated call is received. And Ion 2G is a phenomenal program if you want to learn ALE and to get into ALE. It's a wonderful thing. Caveat, you do have to have an auto tuner because it's switching frequencies at a random fashion. You definitely want to have an auto tuner that will tune each frequency before it transmits. Yeah, so there we go.
Cool. Yes, it is. All right. Well, to wrap things up here, as always. Yes. So if you might be on the journey to studying for that technician, general, or extra class like Todd, then you want to make sure you use Ham Study because it's like an awesome resource, like we've said before, and you can't go wrong with it. So maybe you've also recently got your license or you upgraded. I know there's a lot of hams that just got their tickets out there that are either in the works of getting it paid and getting their call sign or have already gotten that. So we already know a few there. I'm trying to think. I can't remember off the 2. I wrote down 2 of them and I'm drawing a blank. I should have picked up. But Paul, do you have any that I can take 2 seconds to go find them?
I don't have any that I've been made aware of. The last ones I had, I gave out last week. Donovan still hasn't paid, so he's not going to get a call sign until he pays. Okay,
I got them now. Thank you for the delay. I appreciate that. So, 2
You're
got
more than welcome.
Annie is now KC1 YMG. Annie, congratulations on getting your ticket there. Love to see that. And she's actually been on the radio and making HF contacts. So if you hear her on the bands, definitely work her in 10 meters because she's been using your vertical there. Tim went over. I should have informed you, and maybe I'll do that when we talk about our ham radio week. But all of her antennas are up and running, and so all good there. And the other one was a high schooler that we just had in one of our local clubs support a couple of high schools and getting a ham radio club started up there. And his name was Liam, and his call sign's KC1YLI, and he's super stoked to get on and start, making contacts. I've heard him on the repeater a couple times too as well. So just like that, if you've gotten your call sign and you want to let us know, send us an email at livefreeandham@gmail.com. And we'll make sure we announce you on the next episode and share and rejoice in your wins, and continue to encourage you to get further into the hobby. All right.
Or use those new band privileges and send me a win link.
There you go. Yeah, dude, there we go. That's a nice one. Yes. If you can be so inclined, dig out in the YouTubes, figure out how to get WinLink set up and send something out there and send it to N1OG or even now N1JUR if you want to do that, but definitely N1OG because he actually, keeps it up and running and maintained. I, on the other hand, slacker. So with that, let's just do our usual. We're going to dive into our Ham Radio Week catch up. But as always, we have a guest in our house tonight. And so Hollywood, how is your Ham Radio Week going? And, what's going on with you?
Copacetic. Everything all quiet from the bunker, and that's good.
Excellent. Awesome.
All's quiet on the Eastern Front.
Yes. I love the bunker. Some days I wish I was in a bunker. Very cool. All right. Well, we're going to dive in more with antennas and stuff with Hollywood. So looking forward to that. But let's dive over to Paul there. How was your ham radio week, sir?
Well, unlike previous ham radio weeks, this one was relatively uneventful ham radio wise. The radio is sitting here gathering dust because there's just no feasible place to put an antenna up in my current location. But I am kind of rattling some ideas around in my brain on how I could get an antenna in this confined space.
Buddy Paul.
So with that, I will say, and nor would I ever buy another one. I've been monitoring the Live Free and Ham All-Star Note. I keep that up and running all the time now. The All-Star is a permanent fixture in the shack. And so, otherwise, I did a little tattooing this week. I decided that, since I left the motorcycle club in 2018, that it was time to fill in my 1% diamond on my hand. And so, I chose the color green because a green diamond is significant for new things and change and growth. And so my 1% diamond is now a green diamond on my hand.
Very cool. Nice. Excellent. So no grouch tattoos, no official like Oscar the Grouch on the arm yet. You haven't gotten to that point?
Oh, just wait. It's coming. I got a good little spot for it right here. And it'll be a task to kind of manipulate the needle in that way, but yeah, there's going to be a nice little grouch right here.
Nice, wonderful. And 75 ohm am is in the chat there. He says, he's going to make you an awesome loop to glue to the top of the RV, so that's coming soon enough.
Oh yeah.
So excellent. All right, well, good on that one, and looking forward to seeing that tattoo and. Awesome on the All-Star stuff. So, Todd, what say ye? How was your hamburger week, my friend?
Not too happening. I did been on the repeater a lot in the morning on the way home from work, so talking to a bunch of guys. I did go to the club ham radio breakfast I hadn't been to in a while. Hung out with Keith a little bit. Mm-hmm. The POTA king of the Northeast. Gosh. Dude, that guy is insane.
Did you see his, I don't know if he CC'd you guys on the last emails. You know how many contacts he made at the last park that he did for W1LFH? I'll share with you in a bit, but
yeah, he's insane. It's just awesome though. But I did give him, so he was doing, he was going to do Silver Lake, which is near my house. And I told him, I know where he lives. And I said, listen, you might as well, as you go home, stop by the rail trail and, hit up the rail trail, and told him how to get there. He was confused because it said it was in Massachusetts because the dot on the map kind of shows it far away, but the entrance to the rail trail is right there in Nashua where we did our kilo. So he called me or texted me and said, thanks for doing that. And then the other thing I did is I got this hat, like, I don't know, last week. You guys see it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So these are raised, got like a flag built in. It's got a, check this out.
Oh, nice. Little hanging flag. Cool.
So I've been looking for like a call sign hat and I just couldn't find one. So I found it on Etsy on this guy named Patrick Lynch. His website is gearforever.com and it's Gear Forever. And he's got a bunch of ham radio stuff and a couple hats. I know Paul, the Grouches are going to like this hat because it's open in the back, but it does have the flag there. And I like it. It's well made. It's got good material. It's supposed to be like waterproof and stuff. So I just like it because it's not just it's like a raised lettering and it's good stitching. So
and you want it to be like K-Murder because that's what K-Murder wears.
Those hats. Yeah, those hats have been featured on Coffee and Ham Radios and TO and
really?
Ham Radio Tube. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry guys, I didn't see it.
special.
I missed it. But I did find them on Etsy, and I was just looking for hats and ham radio hats, and it came up, and I looked at them and I read the reviews, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he does a couple.
Yeah, he just doesn't offer any fitted style.
No.
Yeah, I know.
I did look for one because I was like, oh, maybe I could get one for Paul, but nothing fitted. But it's a good hat. It fits well. It's comfortable and it's well made, and I like the flag on it, and it just looks good. So
cool. Awesome.
So Eric, what'd you do this week? Ham radio wise?
Not much ham radio in the sense of getting out and playing too many contacts. I tried to hunt a few of our fellow live free and hammers, but was unsuccessful. However, I, like you, went to our club breakfast last week, and Ted was jumping up and down like he was, a little kid at Christmas time, because he literally was able to find his first park that wasn't in the park database and get it into the park database and become the first person to be the atno for it. So he literally was like, I need to go activate this today because they already put it in the database. And if I don't activate it and someone else does, I'm going to get so pissed off. So yeah, he ran down there, and it's actually a twofer because it's actually tied to the rail trail that runs through Mass and New Hampshire. So that whole Pepperell Trail. And so he did a little post up on our club website about it, and actually I think through in our club Discord too as well. But really awesome to see that they're adding new parks. If you can do the little research and figure out which ones might be in the area that fall into it, fall into the municipal or state level parks and that aren't on the park database, yeah, you can definitely get them in there and maybe get your own atno, because I mean, it's almost hard these days to find new parks that haven't already been activated by somebody. So yeah, I'll leave him to share that story. But yeah, back to Keith, Todd, like his last email he sent me last week, we talked about how he had basically activated 2 parks, and each of those 2 parks he ended up getting 300 contacts. This week, he sends me an email and says, hey, I've activated US 2422 Bradley Palmer State Park in Mass. I broke my previous record of most QSOs in a single activation with, guess how many? Go ahead. What do you think?
200 plus.
1,000.
No, less.
800.
A little less.
750.
Yeah, his 620. His previous record was 300, and he did it across 6 bands with P2Ps, all for Whiskey 1 Live Free and Ham. So he sent me over the logs.
But he's running 600 watts.
Okay.
So I ask him, I go, hey, how are the bands today? Because he's typically got his first park done. Like he
doesn't care
at like 6 a.m. He goes, 10 minutes is great. And I get out there, and I'm on 100 watts, and all I hear is. I'm like, it sucks.
So he has 620 contacts. That just puts me to shame.
He is a POTA machine.
Mm-hmm.
The guy
is machine.
He is. And I think was it Thursday, Friday? I don't know. I was on the repeater, and he had gotten up at, I think it was Thursday, because I was taking Zach to play flag football. And he had gotten up at 6 a.m. to activate a park on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, Mike did too. I mean, there was a couple people out there that just didn't get a chance to work.
Yeah. I'm like, I was prepping food with my wife and taking Zach to flag football. And that just wasn't in the cards for me. But I'm jealous. I wish it was.
Me too. So yeah, and then outside of that, I've been playing an FT8 Battle Royale. That's kind of been a little addictive for me for now, and obviously, for those that might not know, next week we'll have Sean on. Is it Sean or the week? No, the week after we'll have Sean on to talk about FT8 Battle. So stay around for that. That should be really fun to talk about, and hopefully, some of the new enhancements he's going on. We actually might be able to bring back our little, FT8 mini battle in the club that we used to do a lot of, when the snow was piling up and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do for FT8. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe getting into that and playing a little bit more of that. And that's been fun. So, yeah, outside of that, overall, I think I've got some other channel stuff that have been going on. So it's been fun, but I won't get into that here. And always just trying to do as much ham radio as I can. So. All right. Well, with that, let's dive into today's topic. We have got a special guest on. Like we said, Hollywood is on. you may have talked and heard from him on other shows as he's talked many about antennas and many other things. I can't. I don't have a dossier on him, but I'm sure it will speak volumes once you start to hear what he has to say. And so I'm going to hand it over to Paul because he's got the reins here. We're going to dive into some really cool tools. So my advice is if you're listening to this podcast, go back to the video later and watch all the stuff on the video because there's going to be some really, really good stuff that we're going to be doing some screen shares with. So with that, Hollywood, thank you again for hanging out with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, Eric. Anytime.
All right, Paul.
Yeah. All right. So Hollywood, you and I, we've talked numerous times on different streams and different platforms. And I thought for our viewers and our listeners, but mostly for our viewers, that it would be really, really good for you to do like an MMANA gal, or however you say it, MANA gal, right? For dummies, right? And so what I did was I started playing with the software and then I stopped. And I said, you know what? Instead of me having an understanding of the software before we start the show, I want to kind of go into this a little bit blind. I'm not totally blind, but just a little bit. And you could help walk through how to use this software to model the most basic antenna setups through maybe something a little bit more complex, like maybe an end-fed half wave and an inverted V. And we could just kind of show people, this is how you set up the software, and this is how you use it, and this is the purposes behind it, and just basically be a MANA gal for dummies.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, let's throw MANA gal up on the screen.
All right. Go grab the screen here. Share screen. Did I get the right one? Nope. Yep. Okay. There we go. Nope. Silly.
Nope. Not quite.
No. Yep. Let me bring it in the other way. Oh, wrong screen here. Sorry. We just did large screen. There we go. That might help.
Technical difficulties. There we go.
Excellent.
Okay. So when you launch the software for the very first time, this is what you see. And so Hollywood, where do I go from here? If say I wanna understand. Now I had a dipole at my house, and initially the dipole was 40 feet off the ground, and it was 75 feet in total length. And then eventually I upgraded to a little bit better of a dipole that was 140 feet in total length, and I put it 65 feet in the air. So how could we understand the difference between those two setups and what advantages or disadvantages that may be at play there?
Okay, sounds good. So that's exactly what this software is designed to do. This is not the best software that's out there. This is certainly not a real engineering piece of software. It's basic stuff for the ham radio community. I use it all the time. It works great, and it's easy to do. So the first thing that I would recommend, what's on the screen, is at the upper left-hand corner, you'll see 4 tabs: Geometry, View, Calculate, and Far Field Plot. Click on View. Because View, well, let's start there. This is a 3-dimensional palette, okay? So you've got an X coordinate, a Y coordinate, and a Z coordinate straight up. So this is our blank piece of paper that we now need to draw a antenna on, and then MANA gal will use that information to give us where the currents are going down that wire and what the radiation pattern expects to be. So this is step 1. We have to draw the antenna first.
Okay. And so what do you suggest that we start with as an antenna?
I would do a dipole. Do a simple dipole.
Okay. Nice and easy.
Yep.
And so how would we go about that?
Okay. So at the very, you got it. At the very top, it says wire edit. Go ahead and click on that. And wire edit is where you get to do the drawing. Okay. So let's get familiar a little bit. In the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to read across from the upper left over to the right. The first icon is when you already have a wire drawn, and this allows you to edit it. And that one there, right. The second icon over is actually drawing a wire. So you can draw a wire first, and then you can stretch it or shrink it or cut it in half and move it around. And we'll do that, okay? And the third button over is if you wanted to draw a loop, which we're not going to do yet. That maybe is the next class, okay? We're going to keep it real simple here. Underneath those three buttons are 3D, which is what we're looking at. We're looking at the image once we draw it, what it's going to look like in the 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z. And the next button over is XY. So XY, you're looking down. You're a bird flying over the antenna, and you're looking at the ground, only the XY, no Z. Okay? Next button over is XZ. So that's like you standing on the ground on the Y coordinate, and you can see the Z going up, and you can see the X going either to your left or to your right. Okay? But you can't see depth of field. So if we're going to draw a dipole, it's a horizontal wire. So let's start with XY, because we don't need to make a vertical wire. We're doing a horizontal wire. Does that make sense to everybody? Nod your head if you agree. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Okay.
Well, we are private stream, but yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're in XY, good, and we see that on our graph paper in front of us. Okay, Y at the top, X to the right, and we see a blue line. And the blue line is where those two intersect, and where they do, that's the center of the antenna. Okay? So,
which is 0, 0.
Yes. So we've clicked on the second icon at the top, which is where we're drawing a new wire. And that's good. So we've got that. So we're going to take...
That's right there.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. So we're going to take our mouse. We're going to go a little bit to the left of the center. And we're going to hold it down, click the mouse, hold it, and drag it to the right and release it. And we see a red wire. And that's the wire that we just drew. And if we look in the upper right-hand corner, it tells us all of the coordinates about that wire in space. Mm-hmm. So without getting into because some people have a difficult time seeing X, Y, and Z. Really, the most important thing is the length, the second from the bottom. And it says that wire that we drew is 20 meters long.
Okay.
That's what I want you to look at. That's the most important thing right now at the first. Yep. Okay.
So it's 10 meters past X1 in the negative 10.
Yep.
And then it is 10 meters positive in the X2.
Right.
So
which equals the 20.
It's that's probably the beginning good just to consider this kind of Hollywood is just like as in being in free space. So, ultimately it's not like, there's a horizon and a ground. So it's just, okay, makes sense.
If you're used to using a milling machine, you understand X, Y, and Z. Most people don't. So really just look at the length for right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, keep it super simple. So a 20-meter piece of wire is going to be, this is in the extra class now. What's it resonant at? What band? It's a half wave.
Oh.
For the what band? 20 meters long. It's a half wave.
It'd be 40.
10 seconds, Bob.
Yeah, I would say probably Grouch is right. 40-meter band.
Yes, correct. Right. Okay. So this is going to be a dipole for 40 meters. It just so happens that we drew it. It was 20 meters long. Okay. So we're going to click OK because we've got our wire now. And there it is in front of us. So
just laying on the ground.
Yep.
Well, free space.
You're correct. It is laying on the ground. But when we go to the third step, which we're not going to do yet, we've got another step to do before the third step. But the third step is calculate. And we can tell the software, raise this wire X number of meters above the ground.
Got it.
Okay. So we don't have to draw it that way. We can manipulate the height at any time. So step 2, after we've drawn the wire, is we're going to click on geometry. And this is where you would, if you're really good with numbers, you can manipulate the numbers at the top and draw the wire. But we've already done that. We've done it the easy way. What we need to do now is in the bottom left-hand corner is it says sources. A source is where on the wire are we feeding the RF energy? On a dipole, we feed it in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we only have one wire. So this is called, under pulse, it's W1 for wire 1. And then we're going to put a C, a Charlie there, because we're going to feed it in the center. So it's wire 1 center. And then we hit OK. And it automatically defaults to 10 volts with a phase of 0. It doesn't matter. For right now, none of that matters. What matters is where are we feeding the wire? Let's check that. Let's click on View. And it will show us the wire. And if you'll notice, in the center of the wire is a red circle. That is the feed point. That's where the energy is going into the wire. Okay?
Makes sense.
Okay. Now let's go to step. So that's step 1 and step 2. Now here comes step 3. We're going to click on calculate. And we need to give MMANA a frequency to use. It defaults to 20 meters. But this is not right. This is not, there's a pull down menu. This is a 40-meter dipole. So click either the 7050 or the 7150. Yeah, 150 is great, right in the center of the band. We need to give it some height. Below the frequency on the left on ground, put real. Yeah, click on real ground. And we can change the ground settings, but that's later. We're just keeping it real simple. So once we've told it that it's not up in free space, it's on the earth or above the earth, we need to tell it how far above the earth it is. So pick a random number, something that's realistic.
I'd do 10. It'll put it like
do 10. 10 is 30. 10 is 30 feet. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. And that's what we need to do. So now the next step is we've got our program. We're ready. We say run it, do it, and then the bottom left is a button for that. And bada boom, it does its thing. So now we got to put our engineering hat on a little bit. So if we look at this, it gives us a spreadsheet. It tells us what frequency went into the wire. It tells us what the ohms are of the wire. It tells us the J factor, which is either capacitive or inductive. And we can talk about that later if you like, because that's a little complex for most people. Click on the View tab again, and it will show us where the current is on the wire. And in the bottom left, there's a slider for zoom currents. You can move that to the right a little bit to, yeah, you can do that one. But on the left, it says zoom currents.
The other control, yeah.
Yep. Slide that over to there you go. Just so that it's easier to see. What do we got? We've got a half-wave dipole. The blue line is the current on the wire, not the voltage. It's the current. Okay.
That makes sense now.
Okay. That, and I think that was Eric, right? Because that makes,
it was, yeah.
Okay. So that's a key ingredient here that trips a lot of people, because we have seen traditionally, like in the ARRL antenna book or even the big book, it shows the voltage, not the current, usually.
Right.
So this trips everybody up. We know, without using the software, we've been told, and it is correct, that a dipole is a good match right from coax. Coax is 50 ohms. A dipole is near 50 ohms. It's a good match. If we go back to Ohm's law, in order for it to be a good match, it has to be a relatively low impedance. The 50 ohms of the coax is a relatively, I'm using air quotes, relatively low impedance. The dipole is also a relatively low impedance. They match. They're happy together. Okay? So
makes sense.
So Ohm's law, I'm going to go on a sidetrack, just a quick one here. E equals IR, right? If the resistance is high, you need more voltage to push through the resistance to get the current to flow. If the resistance is low, it doesn't require as much voltage to push through to get the same amount of current.
Makes sense.
Okay? So just by looking at this current curve, this blue curve, I can see immediately that the middle of the antenna is the low impedance point. There's maximum current in the center. And at the ends, there's very little current. Does everybody see that?
Yeah, makes sense.
And voltage and current are like a seesaw. When one goes up, the other goes down by the same amount. So maximum current in the center, very little voltage in the center. Maximum voltage on the ends, very little current on the ends. One goes up, the other goes down. Okay? So this is a resonant half wave for 40 meters. Let's now see, what does it look like? What can we expect for a pattern? If we click on far field plot at the top, that's the fourth tab over.
It is not voice meter potato.
Right.
Yep. Far field plot. Paul.
Yep.
I think he's trying to get his headset working.
Apologize. My headset decided to die. So I missed all of that. Far field plot.
Go to far field plot.
Okay.
So this is what the radiation pattern would look like. The picture on the left is we're a bird and we're flying over the antenna. I can see the Y coordinate and the X coordinate, but no Z, because I'm the Z. I'm the bird flying above it. On the right-hand picture, I'm standing on the ground. And I can see the X coordinate and I can see the Z coordinate, but I can't see Y because that's me. That's depth of field. So in your head, try to combine those two images. You know what? Don't even do that. Do it the easy way. Click on 3D FF. You got it. And this will give us a three-dimensional rotatable image of where the RF is going to go. And I guess there's a little bit of rendering going on here because this should, there we go.
Yep.
Okay. So the hotter the color, the white is where most of the RF is going. The blue below the antenna is the least amount of signal.
Oh, okay. I always got that screwed up.
Yep.
All right. That makes sense. So it's literally just going straight up.
Well, almost, but it's not just going through, because if you rotate it, if you put the X to our right, there you go. Okay. So you see, it's not just going straight up. Yeah. It's a jelly bean. It's going out to the ends also. It's not low to the ground hugging radiation. So a lot of it does go up, but Callum made a really good statement in one of his, it must have been 2 years ago, videos. and I'll paraphrase it. And what he said was, when you're on the ground, you're an antenna. When you're on the ground, you're like a seagull. Your wings are tucked in tight. And as you start flapping to take off, your wings go out. Once you get up to a certain height, you can soar and you really stretch your wings way out. The antenna does the same thing. When the antenna is low to the ground, it is physically shorter for the same frequency. And as it goes up in height, you need a longer wire. The wings extend further out for the same frequency of resonance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
So that's a good visual. Think of that seagull thing. So this is where our signal is going. In the white. Yeah. And we can draw chalk lines and we can measure roughly what the software is, how many dB gain, is it going here or there? Yeah, we can do that. You know what? In the real world, there are so many other variables that it almost doesn't make sense to do it. It's good to show off and say, well, I've got 2 dB more than you have. But in the real world, it's splitting hairs. You're not going to hear 2 dB.
No, especially when it comes to S units and the multiples of
Yeah,
S units.
exactly.
Yep.
It takes 6 S units to go 6 dB to go 1 S unit.
S unit, yep.
Yeah, so it's nothing on the other end. So what I want you to walk away with on this lesson is, where does the signal go and where is the current on the wire? That's the 2 most important things for right now. All right? And where the current is max, that will tell you what the impedance is of the antenna. Let's change this right now, really quick. Let's make it an end-fed half wave. So we'll go to geometry. And under pulse, instead of W1C, we'll make it W1B Bravo. That's
now,
wire 1 at the beginning.
Question, is there a key somewhere or some, like, so I obviously knowing these little like nuances of when defining where your feed point is that they're listed somewhere or somewhere?
Yeah, they're in the manual.
Okay.
But we're men. We don't read manuals.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of getting to. So, like, you know, what crazy voodoo did you have to, learn to be
exactly.
Yeah. But so, yeah, now we've got the little red circle down in the end instead of being in the middle.
Right. So before we do the calculation, from what I've told you so far, pop quiz, what kind of impedance do you think it's going to see? And tell me why.
Oh, let's see here. Well,
and you can phone a friend.
I think it's going to be a much higher impedance because you're feeding it from the end. So it's no longer being balanced.
Okay.
Well, using your dipole example, your current was highest in the middle where the feed point was. So like Paul said, your feed point is obviously where the highest point would be the current. So impedance is going to be, well, yeah, in the formula, impedance would have to be, would it have to be lower or higher?
That's why I asked, because I want you to visualize it. So if it's helpful, draw on a piece of paper E equals IR.
Yeah, that's what I was starting to think of. So
and
know what?
When I was teaching, the way I drew it out for the kids was, you put E and then an I on the left and an R on the. This is below, below the E. It put an I, put an R. Put a circle around the whole thing. And you've probably seen this in the textbooks at some point. What you do is you cover with your finger the letter that you're trying to solve for. So if I have, I wish I could draw it on my screen here, but so if I have E equals E over IR, right? And I want to solve for R. I put my thumb over the R and I see E over I. Right. If I want to solve for I say E over R.
Yep.
If I want to solve for E, it's I times R. Okay. So I know I went in the weeds a little bit there, but if we're feeding at the end of the wire.
Oh, I has to be high then.
Okay, why? You said I has to be higher.
Well, because on a dipole isn't where you feed it in the center, the current is almost near zero, right? Or is that...
What did we see from the previous picture with the blue arc? When we fed it in the
current
center,
is maximum. Right, current is maximum. Yep.
It was maximum where?
At the center.
Right. And now we're feeding it at the end. So where is the current going to be maximum?
On the opposite side of the wire, right?
Let's see. Go ahead and hit calculate. Place your bets. And then go back to view and look at it. And you may have to move that zoom all the way to the right.
That's still...
Uh-huh.
That's still in the middle.
It's still in the center. Okay. So let me make this analogy. Do you guys play any instruments?
Yeah, guitar. I haven't played in a while, but yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I got my hand on the neck of the guitar. I'm playing a G note here, and I'm plucking the string. Does the tone, not the I shouldn't say the tone, the frequency, the note. Does the note change where I pluck the string?
Yeah.
The frequency of the note changes?
Not the frequency notes.
No, I'm talking about just the frequency.
Oh.
It's the same note.
Yeah, it should be the same note. It doesn't change.
Okay, so the feed point is at what point on the string is my pluck hitting the string? That's the feed point. The length of the string is the frequency of resonance, which does not change. It doesn't matter where you pluck the string, you get the same note. It sounds different. There's different harmonics to it.
Right.
But the fundamental note that's being played is the same. It's determined by the length of the wire.
That's a really good analogy. I'm a musical idiot. You know, like I learned how to play the bass guitar for a couple songs.
Mm-hmm.
But like as a musical idiot, right? That still makes sense to me because if I'm holding my fingers on the neck, it doesn't matter where on the string that I pluck.
Right.
It's going to make the same sound.
Yep.
Because the length of the wire that I'm plucking is the same.
Right. Exactly right. So on a guitar, any stringed instrument, we can change the tension on the string and we can change the pitch. We cannot do that with an antenna. It's fixed. It's the speed of light. It's not a variable. So the only variable that we have is the length of the wire. Okay? But where we introduce the energy, where we pluck the string, it's going to play the same note. It's just, now let me go one step more. If I pluck the string on the guitar in the middle, it's easy to pluck. If I pluck it at the bridge, I need more pressure.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And I need more pressure because, so pressure in electricity is voltage. Pressure is voltage. Current is how many actual electrons are flowing. The amount, and it's like gallons of water, and voltage is PSI. Okay.
So if you're plucking towards the ends,
yes,
you need more voltage.
Yes, you got it. Home run. It's just that simple. So the way we get more voltage is we use a transformer. We convert the low impedance of 50 ohms up to 5,000 ohms. And now we have the voltage required to get that string to be plucked. Okay?
Dig it.
Following.
Okay. So let's see, where does this one radiate? Let's go to far field plot. Is it any different? The radiation
It's the
pattern?
same.
It's the
Pretty
same.
much the same, yeah.
Correct. Bingo. So it does not matter where you put the energy into the wire. It's not going to change the radiation pattern at all. It's the same pattern.
Literally, it looks identical.
It is, and it is. It's identical. Yeah.
So then here's a dumb question then.
No question is dumb. Go ahead.
Then if you're feeding, so basically it boils down to how much current or voltage you're putting into the wire, or whether you're transforming it up or down in order to change this, basically the radiating pattern, not, keeping the wire length the same, whether it's a dipole or it's an end fed, as long whatever you feed it more with in terms of voltage will change the rest of the wire, correct? Am I saying that right?
I'm not sure I follow 100%. Let me see if I can sum it up. And again, I'll go back to the guitar. It's where you pluck the string.
So if you're plucking the string harder.
Yep.
What is that doing to the rest of the wire?
The harder I pluck, that's like more amps, more watts going into the antenna.
Okay.
So if I've got the guitar and I pluck it in the middle, and I have a microphone with a sound pressure meter, and it reads 80 dB. Okay, I pluck it just so, and I get 80 on the meter. Okay, and then I pluck it at the bridge. I have to pluck it harder to get the same 80 dB on the meter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the it's because there's more resistance at the bridge. So I need to overcome that resistance. Okay.
Because the feeding line you're feeding it with is 50 ohms.
Okay, so we're going back to antennas, right? So if I feed it in the middle, it's a low impedance point. It's a lot of current right there that it will accept. Antennas are called loads, by the way. That's what engineers call them. Okay, so it's a load. So that load can accept power from my transmitter in this. If I feed it in the center, it accepts it very easily. It accepts the amperage very easily. But if I feed it at the end, it has a hard time accepting that amperage. It'll accept volts just fine, but not amps. So I need to do a conversion. And I use a transformer for that. Transformer is like the transmission in your car. If I have an engine in the car, that's my transmitter. My rear wheels are the load, the antenna, propelling the whole thing forward. But I need a transmission to convert depending on if I'm going on level ground or if I'm climbing a mountain. I need a lower gear if I'm at an angle. As there's more voltage, there's more pressure fighting my car from accelerating.
That makes sense. Okay.
Now you're talking freaking, something that I understand.
Yeah, and Paul, that's my goal, is to try to find out what is the common denominator that you guys all understand, and then make a analogy, because then it's real easy, because it's based on something you already know. Okay, so
makes sense.
Ask away. Any other questions up to this point?
No, keep going. I'm sure probably once we get into a little bit more, it's going to start to make more sense now in terms of actual practical kind of.
Okay.
But so now I want to know, right?
Sure.
Okay, so we got our dipole, and it's up 30 feet roughly.
Yeah.
What if we raise it higher?
Let's do it. Now, here's the thing. Before you hit start, I want you guys to mentally try to ask yourself, what's the hypothesis? What do I expect to see?
How far are we going up?
Well, let's double it. Just for grins.
20.
Yeah, put it at 20. But don't hit run yet. think before you hit the start. What do I expect to see and why?
So what I would expect to see is the takeoff angle would be much more narrow.
More narrow? What is that?
Yeah. So all right. So in the current setup, we're basically kind of NVIS, where we're projecting the bulk of our signal almost straight up.
Yeah.
And as we increase the elevation of the antenna, my understanding would be that we would, instead of being an NVIS type projection, it would be more a side projection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's run it. Let's see.
Okay. No fatal errors.
Good.
That's always a plus.
Nothing caught fire.
Okay.
Well, look at that. Look at that image on the right.
Uh-huh. Click on the 3D FF.
Just so we know, this is still being fed from the end, at the end, correct?
Yeah.
Or is this the center load? Okay.
It's fed from the end, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
Radiation pattern is going to be identical. Hey, we got a winner.
Would you look at that?
Okay. It's the radiation, the main parts of the radiation are now lower to the horizon than they were before. Now the question is, why? How does the height change it? Does anybody play pool? Does anybody play golf?
I'm terrible at both.
Okay. Think of that wire as a light bulb. There's no shade on the light bulb. It's not a flashlight with a reflector around it, right? That would be a Yagi. This is just a naked bulb that I'm holding in my hand connected to a battery. The light goes everywhere. It goes up, it goes out to the sides, it goes down, right? If I have the light bulb, if the ground were a mirror, and I put the light bulb right, a foot above that mirror, the light some of it's going to go up from the bulb, and some of it's going to go down and hit the mirror and reflect and go straight up also. Right? That's when the bulb is close to the ground.
So we're reflecting off the ground
always
as we increase the height.
You're always reflecting off the ground, unless you're in outer space.
Space, right?
Okay. The higher up you are, the less reflection off of the ground, and the more coming just from the wire.
Well, question then: what does it look like in free space?
Let's do it. Great question.
Yep.
Space.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Big giant RF.
Perfect.
Yeah. Interesting.
Look at that.
Yeah, big donut.
So you see what I said. If it was a bulb, the signal is going out of the bulb, it's going up, and it's going down. This is in free space. It's a satellite now. Mm-hmm. But notice there's no signal coming off of the ends of the wire.
Right. It's very narrow.
Because that's where the voltage is, not the current. It takes current to... Remember, radio waves are an electromagnetic field. The second half of it is magnetic. And you need current to go through did you ever make an electromagnet and you pick up, with a D battery?
Oh, yeah.
You wrap a wire around a nail? If you disconnect the battery, there's no current and the thing isn't a magnet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So So a lot of the RF, it needs both. It needs voltage and it needs current.
So then why do we model in free space at all then? What's the pros to doing it in free space?
Bragging rights.
Okay.
Because
theoretical.
Because in free space, you can say how many dBi, and so dB is decibels, and the I is short for isotropic radiator, which means what we just drew. It's a wire in free space. And that's not the real world. The difference is when you draw a dipole, now that dBi becomes dBd for dipole, and you lose, it's almost 3 dB.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the far field plot that we had before,
yep,
at least on the y-axis, I had a 5.5 to 6 dBi gain.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now we're in free space, it's maxing out at 2.2.
Right. Right, because it has nothing to reflect off of.
So is there diminishing returns in terms of height for an antenna?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You can, if you are a DX contest station, what they will often do is on the big tall tower, they will put a bunch of Yagis at different heights, and they will select them depending on where they want to talk to. They're all aiming at the same azimuth, but they're at different altitudes. So that incoming wave from Europe, its arrival time might come in at a 10-degree angle, and you want to use the antenna at the top of the stick. But something closer might come in at a 30-degree angle. You want to use the antenna towards the middle or the bottom of the stick. Not the bottom, but, lower.
Correct, yeah. Right.
Okay. So it's a three-dimensional thing. That's a great question.
All right. So why would I want to then, in terms of antenna, I mean, obviously physical limitations would dictate why I would choose a dipole, say, over an end fed for, because I don't know if trees or whatever, but is there any, that being eliminated as a factor, what's one way, once it was one better than the other? Does it really matter?
Yeah. In my opinion, the dipole is more efficient because it's a monoband antenna. It's designed to do one thing and do it very well. Mediocre to good. Okay. It's not the best antenna, but it works every time, pretty much. The end-fed antenna, its claim to fame is that it will work on harmonics. It will play the main note, but it will also play the second and the fourth and the eighth harmonic. And our ham bands are set up that way.
Okay. That makes sense.
So you kind of get a free lunch.
Yeah. So your end fed's just giving you a little bit more versatility versus say a dipole. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
However, it's not a perfect world. And the price that you pay for that free lunch of using the other bands is that there are losses in the transformer. And the end-fed half wave, because it is a fixed height, you're shooting it over a tree limb, you're doing POTA, you're not changing the height. But when you change frequency, the electrical height of the antenna changes because the wavelength is shorter. If you're using it on 10 meters, it's physically shorter. It could be lower to the ground than it would have to be if it were a 40 meter. Okay. So there are more losses. The lower you go, there are more losses generally. Let's do that. Let's look at it. So what do we got? We ran it for 10 meters here, for 28 megs. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look at the 3D FF plot. Yeah. And what we'll find is that there are there are what are called lobes in the pattern. It's not a nice, simple pattern. It's a whole bunch of fingers now because there's an interference pattern. The antenna is radiating on, what is it, fourth harmonic now? It was cut for 40 meters. We're using it on 10. So if you know what, let's go back one step. Let's X out of this particular page and go back to view. So let's look at where the current is on the wire. You see there are 4 current loops now because it's the fourth harmonic. Okay. What MMANA doesn't show you, but I can tell you, is that the feed point on the right-hand side, the first hump is, the timing is correct. Let's say it that way. The second hump, it takes a little bit of, it's nanoseconds because it's the speed of light, but the second hump is a little bit delayed from the first one. The third hump is even more delayed, and the fourth hump is the most delayed compared to the first hump.
And is that why we get the harmonics?
Well, no, it's why you get the interference pattern.
Ah, okay.
Because this is as though I had 4 dipoles, but they're not all firing at the same time. Number 4 is the most delayed, and number 1 is the least delayed. So there's...
Just on a sidebar, this is kind of how phasing with verticals work.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Bingo. Right.
That makes sense. Now it's clicking.
Yep.
Okay.
The light is turning. Good. I love it.
Okay.
So this is just a simple piece of wire, but yes, it has a phase delay. Okay. So if we do it at if we feed it 40 meters signal, there is no delay because it's only one hump. And if we do it at 20 meters, there's 2 humps, so one will be delayed behind the other. The higher the harmonic goes, the more humps there are, the more delayed the one at the end of the string is from the one at the beginning of the string. So there's an interference. It's just like dropping 2 rocks on a pond. Yep. If you drop them at the same time, you get a certain interference pattern. If you delay one, a little bit behind the other, it changes that pattern. And that's what MMANA is really good at.
Of the original. So using your rock analogy, you drop the first rock in, it creates its circle elliptical. Use that second one until it starts to intersect those other circles or those other loops that, at that point, that's where the phasing and interference comes in. Got it. Okay.
Exactly. It's just that simple. Yep. It's hard to conceptualize, but once you get it, then you can plug it into the software and you can kind of guess what is it going to do. And then you confirm it.
A practical application, how does that affect the performance of the antenna? These interference points.
Okay. So what my mentor told me, and I'll repeat it here, is you build an antenna to put the maximum signal at the target. That's your first goal. Once you've done that, then you match it. You make it play at X number of bands, and you have a good SWR. So those come after. But the first thing is you have to get the signal to go where you want it to go.
At the best efficiency. Okay.
Yep, that's the primary goal.
Makes sense.
Because if we do it backwards, if I say SWR is the most important thing, guess what? I have a dummy load that does that. My dummy load has a perfect SWR. It doesn't radiate, but it solves the problem. It has a perfect SWR.
Well, it's funny you said it because I've been a ham since '93, and that was always the factor that I was drilled home with all the time. Make sure your SWR is as low as possible. Before you even start to transit. And now that I get into this phase, it's like, really, it's just the fact that the cable, the coax, and the radio want to be able to talk to each other happily, and that's really all it boils down to.
Right. There's 2 main reasons why that's drilled into our head. The first is marketing. Most of it came from the 11-meter CB band. So when you read S9 or you read CB Magazine, it said, this Avanti antenna has a perfect 1-to-1 match from channel 1 to channel 40. Great. Okay. But it's really not important when you get into all of these other bands, which we have because we're hams.
Right.
So the other reason is this. So that was the first reason. The second reason is most of us are taught as hams to use coax as our transmission line to feed the energy to the antenna. Coax is great. However, balanced line is better.
Right.
Balanced line can handle 30-to-1, 40-to-1. Doesn't matter. The losses are so low. It's like Heliax.
Right.
It's great stuff. And I'm a convert. I started with coax. This is why I'm preaching this. I started with coax because that's all I knew. And that's what we used in broadcast. You don't use, unless you're a shortwave, station, commercial broadcast AM/FM uses coax to feed the antenna. And when I started reading the old periodicals, the old 100-year-old books, 1920s, I'm reading from these old timers. This is broadcast stuff now. And I'm reading it and I'm like, holy crap, they used balanced line back then. You know what? Why? And I read and I read and I read, and it really started to sink in. And then out came the drill. And I put 2 holes in the outside wall and I never looked back.
Well, and you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, that was kind of the idea is like nobody could come up with an easy way to be able to get balanced line into your shack without it making a utterly big giant mess. And so
it's ugly. It's not convenient. The XYL doesn't like it. You have to have a balanced tuner.
Mm-hmm.
But those are some prices that I'm willing to pay so that my doublet, which is what it's called, it's a dipole fed with 600 ohm line, it will work from 160 through 10. All I got to do is crank the knob on the tuner.
Okay.
And it works everywhere. It's not the best antenna, but it's perfect for my needs. So,
which in a lot of times, that is all the ham is looking for.
Yep.
What is the best for my need?
Right. Everything is a compromise.
It depends too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So here's the kind of the I run into a lot when I get asked this, obviously being content YouTuber and whatnot, is that people will be like, well, what do I want for antenna? Do I want to have a tuner? Do I not want to bring a tuner with me? So we'll use the scenario of POTA. People are out there, out in the field.
Yeah.
They are trying to figure out what scenario of what equipment they need to bring. A lot of times I'll refer them to a resonant style antenna, whether it's a wire or a vertical, for the purposes of convenience for them for tuning. How does your strategy fit into this? And does it really matter whether it's a resonant antenna or, you bring a tuner with you? Because, it sounds like either or, depending on whatever scenario you want to kind of concoct out of your own head, I guess. And now I'm kind of confusing myself.
Okay. So that's a good question. So if it's a resonant antenna, that means that it's a good match to the transmitter, basically. I'm overly simplifying it, but that's pretty much what it means. Okay. So therefore you don't need a tuner. So it's one less thing for you to bring to the POTA.
Okay.
The problem is you're painting yourself into a corner. If you've got an antenna that works on 40 meters, you can't do 20 or 15 or 10.
Sure.
So it depends on how much you want to bring and how flexible you want to be.
Okay.
That's really it.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're just laughing at the chat here.
Yeah, and I can't see it, so I can't.
Yeah, it usually rolls in the background, but we got this full screen here, so yeah, no problem there.
Yeah.
Mike is commenting on how he's, we asked him, I think last episode, I can't remember what it was. He was like, "What antenna would you recommend?" And he's like, "Recommended. I like the idea of a doublet." We're like, "Oh, you use one?" He's like, "No, I've never used one before."
Oh, you should, Mike. You should do it. Do it. Listen, you can. Here's the thing about the doublet. So my doublet is cut for 80 meters. It's like an 80 meter dipole. But guess what? It also works on 160. So my point in telling you that is, if you do POTA and you make a doublet for 20 meters, you cut it for resonance for 20 meters, and you feed it with some type of balanced line. Doesn't have to be 600 ohm. That would be insane. But, 300 ohm ribbon cable like we used to have on the side of our house to the TV antenna, the brown stuff, that'll be just fine. That'll take 100 watts all day long, no problem. Okay. And it will be great. And that doublet now, it's cut for 20, but it'll work 40. And it'll work 15, and it'll work 10, and on a good day, you might even get 6 out of it. And you don't need a big honking Palstar tuner. Use a little MFJ tuner with the 3 controls on it, with the ballon in the back, the 4-to-1 ballon. It's fine.
And just on a sidebar, tuners, and I got this confused a while back. Always better to have a manual tuner in that case, or
I think so. Yes, a manual tuner will always have a wider tuning range than an automatic tuner.
Okay,
always. I'll make another analogy. If I'm driving the car and it snows and I'm stuck, do I want an automatic or a manual?
Manual.
Okay. Yeah, it's that easy.
Yep.
It takes nothing to spin the controls. You listen for the maximum amount of hiss. You're close. You put all these radios have SWR meters in them. Boom, good to go.
Okay.
So Hollywood. Now we've got this end fed halfway.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? What if we put it in an inverted V?
Let's do it.
How would we do that?
Okay, let's go back to our drawing. So above far field plot, we're going to click on the wire edit icon. Yeah. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on that red line. And we get a pull down menu. And we're going to select divide. It's down toward the bottom. Divide. Let's cut it in half. Divide by 2. Yeah. And then let's grab the middle and pull it up. Yeah, and then release it. There you go. Okay, so there's it's over the tree branch, or it's on a carbon fiber pole, let's say. Okay. Click OK. What did we do? We've got it lying on the ground. We need to spin it. Okay, we can do that. Easy. Up at the top, above the word calculate, there is an icon to the left of that is that's rotate. Click on rotate. And let me think about what we need to rotate it by 90 degrees. The question is it on the Z? No, it's on the
Y.
It's on the Y. Right. So click on Y. Yep. And it automatically defaults to 90 degrees. Doesn't matter whether it's clockwise or counter. Click OK. Still didn't go the right way, did it?
No.
Okay.
No, it must be Z then.
Try a whole bunch of things. You'll get it right. That's what I do. So it's rotate. Click on the rotate button.
Up top.
Yep.
Oh, yep. Okay. Rotate. Yep.
Yep.
We'll go back to Y. Go clockwise. We get it back to the way it was.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
How about X?
So X, 90 degrees. Counterclockwise. There we go.
There we go. You got it. You got it.
That looks more like it should be.
Okay. Now, the next thing we need to look at is when we go to calculate, I think we still have this in free space. So, it's in real. Okay. So let's lower it to a normal height. And this is the ends of the antenna, the lowest
normal
point.
height. I don't know where you're putting it up, Paul, but
yeah, if you're at POTA, you're not starting the antenna at 30 feet off the ground. The middle might be 30 feet.
You would love
off
to,
the
but
ground.
yeah.
So I would recommend, for right now, in add height, either 3
meters.
or type in the number 1. because most people have got it pretty darn low to the ground. Yeah. And then remember, these are in meters, so 1 meter is 3 feet.
Yep.
Which is for an end fit halfway.
Yep.
In an inverted V, 3 feet for the feed point is perfect.
Yep.
In my experience.
Yep. So
okay. Now we also modeled this for 20 meters again.
Yep. So this is what we expect to see for 20. Click on 3DFF because I think that's easier for people to visualize, to see the color where the thing is going to spit the energy out. And we can see our blue line. That's our antenna.
Oh, wow. That is very directional.
Yeah.
But boy, look at that. It's still very NVIS.
Yep. Correct. Because it's so low to the ground. Correct.
And we're feeding this still off the end, right? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. That makes total sense.
Run it again for 10 meters and look at it. So instead of 2 lobes, we're going to see 4.
Change it to 28.5. Boy, look at that.
Couple of lobes.
So what happens is, again, the antenna has a delay as the signal goes down the wire at the speed of light, or almost. There is a delay at the end, so there's an interference that way, and there's also a reflection off of the ground that's changing the interference pattern. It's both.
So with this setup, how does a ground radio work? How would it affect this antenna? Because right now it's obviously just in using the ground as a reflection point, but what does a ground radial do?
Depends on where you put the ground radial. Okay. If you put the ground radial directly under, if you're making like a reflector, you put it underneath the antenna, because let's say you're on sandy soil. You're not by the ocean now. You're in the desert. Let's say in this example, you've got sandy soil, no water content. Therefore, the reflectivity is very low. So there's a lot of losses in the ground, and you need that signal. This is why I asked if you guys play golf. I don't, but it's a good example. If you're in the sand trap, you need to use a different club to pop the ball up and out. Okay, that's the takeoff angle of the ball. If you're teeing off, you're going to use another different type of club because you want a low trajectory, a low takeoff angle. So again, it gets back to where do you want the signal to go? So if I were to put a wire under this thing, I'm in the desert, I have losses in the ground, there's no water content, and I add a grid of wires, let's say, not just one, but a grid. I make a bunch of radials. They act as a reflector, and it would act almost the same as it would if I did the same antenna, same height, same everything, but now I'm on somebody's pasture. It's nice green hillside, and there's water content and all of that. It'll pop the signal up because it'll reflect off of the ground.
Okay. And so in this configuration right here, technically the feed line would be doing the ground radio or acting as the other end of the antenna, correct?
On an end, okay. Now I understand what I think you were trying to say. On an end-fed antenna, because it's a high impedance, you're plugging it at the end of the string, if you will. It needs something to push against. If you took, let me go here for a second. If you took that guitar analogy and did you ever see Les Paul, his first guitar that he ever made? It didn't have a body to it. It was a steel piece of train track for the neck, so that it wouldn't resonate. Only the string makes the noise, not the guitar itself, not the instrument. So it didn't have the acoustical body. When we think of a guitar, it's got the hole in the middle and all that. It didn't have any of that. So, the radio signal on an end-fed half wave, it needs something to push against. It's like walking on a frozen lake. If you lose traction, it's very hard to walk. If you have something to push against, being the coax or a radial field or something on the other end of the transformer, now the electrons going down the wire, they can push against that and they can push themselves forward down the wire.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Think of it's like a dipole, but it's off-center fed to an extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of feeding it at the center, you feed it, a quarter of the way in. That's an off-center fed. Well, we're feeding it at the very far end, but it still needs something on the other side, even if it's only 3 inches long. It's not going to work well at 3 inches, by the way. And that's what she said. But, it needs something to push against. Nothing to push against. It's like the car spinning its wheels on the ice. It doesn't go anywhere.
And is that magical number the same thing as a half wavelength?
It's 0.05 of a wave length for that frequency that it's cut at. That's the magic number.
Of the maximum frequency that it's cut at?
No, the lowest.
Oh, the lowest.
The lowest.
Okay.
Yep. The fundamental.
Okay. Now it's starting to click.
Mm-hmm. And end-fed antennas, they also have they pick up noise a lot. It doesn't matter if you're at POTA, you're in the middle of the park, there's not a lot of noise. But if you're in your backyard and your neighbors all have switching power supplies and battery chargers running, and it's going to pick up more noise than most other antennas.
Okay.
Because it's high impedance.
And that's traditionally the design of the antenna because, okay.
Yeah, it's a high impedance antenna. Where you're feeding it is a high impedance.
And is that also safe bet to say for an off-center fed because it's similar in design?
Yeah,
okay.
Right. An off-center fed will get less noise than an end fed, but more noise than a dipole antenna fed in the center.
Got it.
Because a dipole antenna is balanced. You're feeding in the middle. It's equal on each side. Once you change that feed point and you start moving it to one extreme, it's off center. It has less and less to push against. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you end up with common mode current. If you're using coax wire, I wish I had a diagram to show you. I do actually, if I was more prepared. That signal loops around. It doesn't all get eaten up by the one side connected to the shield. Some of it folds back upon itself. And it comes down the outside of the coax. And then we talk about putting chokes on and, all that.
Right. Huh. All right. Well, I'm curious. I mean, obviously, I don't know if we're going to dive a little deeper in the vertical side of things because that's kind of where I play a lot of, and I'm always
Let's draw one vertical. Do we have time to do that?
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay, because I'm good. I don't know how long your show runs.
As long as you need.
Well then.
We are not ham radio workbench like 4.5 hours long, but
I got it. I got it. Okay.
Let's see at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can speed it up. Let me see if I can share my screen because I have MMANA already set.
Yep.
And if I go here, okay. Do you guys see MMANA from my screen now?
Just waiting for it to pop up.
Okay.
Did you? Nope. Nothing yet. Did you share your screen out?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Let me go back and check
one more time. Yeah.
Choose what to share. Oh, that's why. Yeah. Select. Okay, got it. It's. I want to share the entire screen. There we go. Now you should have it.
Okay. Let's wait for that to come on. Come on. Nothing yet.
Huh.
Sometimes if you just do the window, like if you go to the window tab and do MMANA as a window,
So I did entire screen, and I see it.
I don't see it popped up yet. Here, let me just switch views and see if that did it. No, didn't bring us back. No. Window. Try going under window and then select MMANA goal there.
Okay.
There we go.
You got it?
It's coming in.
Okay.
Scene. Come on. All right. Oh, I wonder, does he have the video have to be on to do that? No, I didn't think he did.
If it doesn't work, no problem. We'll go to Plan B.
Yeah, let's go to Plan B at this point.
Okay,
So
got it.
Want to pull up yours again, Grouch?
Yeah.
All right. Full screen. All right. Just waiting. Come on.
So I see Grouch's screen.
Obi-Wan, teach me.
Can you guys see it? Oh, there we go. It's up now. Good.
Okay, so we're going to click on New. Should be in the upper left-hand corner. And we're going to say no, don't save that. Right. Okay, so now we've got a blank piece of paper again. So we need to draw a vertical. So we're going to, yep, you got it.
I read it.
Yep, that's correct. And instead of XY, we want to be an XZ or YZ. So over, yep. Mm-hmm. And go to the center, just draw a vertical wire. Not too big. How many?
Well, that's what,
25 meters.
Okay.
Oh.
So let's change the length of that. So let's go back to wire edit and let's make it 20 meters tall like we did the 20-meter doublet or dipole. Yeah, you can do it that way too. You can edit it. And if you...
There we go.
Yep. And it says wire 1 in the bottom right-hand corner. And it should say 20 meters tall.
Yep.
Okay. So now that we've drawn our wire, we need to give it a point on the wire that we're putting the RF into. And since this is a vertical on the ground, we're going to feed it from the bottom. And when you drew the wire, most people start from the bottom and they go up. So the bottom is going to be the beginning, right? You got it. You're already there.
Yep.
Okay. So go ahead now, and we need to. Okay, so we've got it. We've got a point. You can do calculate. Yep.
So 20 meters, sure.
So it's 20 meters tall. So a quarter of 20, because it's a quarter wave. Well, let's I should shut up. You do your thing because I want you to see what it does.
Okay. So a 20-meter wire for 20 meters.
Think what it's going to do first. Yeah, what do you expect to see? And then hit the start button, and let's see if you're right.
I don't see it as going well, but no fatal errors. Okay.
That's fine.
Well, first of all, you know what? Go to the view menu now that we've run the program. So look at where the currents are. It's a 20-meter tall pipe. It's 20 meters tall, and we're feeding it on 20 meters frequency.
Oh, yeah. So I mean,
does that... Does that
Really, we
explain why there are 2 current loops?
Yeah, we should be 10 meters.
Okay, let's look.
Oh.
Whoa.
So think about it. Think about it. It's 20 meters tall.
Actually wanted to be 40 meters.
Yeah. Why?
Because then it's a half wave.
Right. It's a half wave. Now, where are we feeding the energy into the wire?
At the base.
Right. And just by looking at that picture, can you tell me if there's high current or low current there?
That's high.
Why do you say it's high?
Because it's separated far off from the feed point. Where if it was a low current, it would be close to feed point.
Well, it looks to me like halfway up the wire is where the high current is.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, wouldn't a true half wave, the dip would be at the feed point?
Yes. If it was horizontal, yes. But my question was, where we're feeding it at the bottom, is it a high current or is it a low current?
I would still say higher.
Well, I didn't say higher. I said, is it high or low?
All right.
You got 50-50
so if you look at the curve,
yeah,
high is in the middle.
So it's relatively low in comparison to the rest of the antenna.
Yes, that's what I want you to see. Exactly. Right. Okay, so because I know, because of what all of the books have told me, is that when it's high current like that, that's a pretty good match to coax. Right? So since the bottom of it is less current, a lot less current, it's going to be a tough match to coax.
Because why?
Because 50 ohm coax has a certain amount of current and a certain amount of voltage. It's Ohm's law. And if the current is maximum, where we see it on this picture in the middle of the wire, halfway up, that is roughly 40 ohms. I'm pulling a number out of the air. It's not 36. It's not 50. It's probably about 40. Might be a 1.5 to 1 match. It's a good match to coax if I could feed it there.
It'd be interesting. Yeah.
Okay. But if I feed it at the bottom, it's now going to have a lot less current, meaning it's going to have a lot more voltage. And so the resistance also goes up. Resistance follows voltage. So
you increase the voltage, the resistance also increases.
The resistance stays the same, but I need to push. Let me say it this way. I have a pool in my backyard, and I need to fill. It's springtime. There's no water in the pool. I need to fill the pool. If I use the garden hose has a lot of resistance. In order to fill the pool in a half a day, I need like 400 psi pushing through that hose. I need very high voltage to push through the hose, the tiny hose, okay? On the other hand, I call the fire department, and they bring their pumper truck, and it's 3-inch wide pipe hose now that they're giving me. And it flows like, lickety-split. Beautiful. Low pressure on the fire engine, because it's a bigger hose, less resistance, doesn't need as much pressure to get the same amount of gallons into the pool.
So could you feed a vertical with ladder line?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Where would you actually physically, since the vertical is usually only one leg of, a dipole.
Okay.
You'd have to have the ground, you'd feed the other end with the ground radials and.
Yeah, you can do that. You can put a balance. So your ladder line is balanced. This is an unbalanced antenna, because we're feeding it against the ground. It's unbalanced. So we need to use a balun in reverse. We take the balanced transmission line into a balun. It comes out of the balun. It is now unbalanced.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow, I never thought of using a balun like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could use a balun like that. I always just assumed it was a one-way device. Interesting.
Yep. Okay. I know. That's why I'm here. And I'm just sharing with you the tidbits that I discovered.
Between you and Ziggy, I am going to have an aneurysm because my brain is, I have been taught the wrong things for a long, long time.
Yeah, wow. I know. I'm with you. I'm sympathetic to it. That's why I encourage everybody to read the old 100-year-old books. The physics doesn't change. The way the products that we use change, but the physics of the universe stays the same. Okay, so you could also take Eric. You could take that wire, and you could do what's called a delta match. You could feed from the center, measure up a certain amount, a couple of feet vertically, and a couple of feet down from the center, and that's where you attach your balanced line. It's still balanced. It's no longer in the center. It's toward the ends. It doesn't have to be at the end.
Delta match, what's that? Never done one. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. No. I wish I could share my screen and show you. If I take that wire and just visualize this for a sec, forget about balanced line. We know that the further out to the ends that it goes, the higher the resistance is. And in the center, it's roughly 50 ohms. But at the far end, it's 5,000. Somewhere in the middle, between those two extremes, is 600 ohms.
Okay.
The question is, where is it? And you have to guesstimate and interpolate and try a few things. But if you go a certain point above the center up and you attach one side of the balanced line there, and then you go the same distance down from the center and you attach the other side of the balanced line there, and you have to raise the antenna off of the ground. You can't have it touching the ground. Okay, it has to be up a little bit. Hey, Ape. Then it is also a balanced antenna, and you can feed it with balanced line.
And when you say your vertical is off the ground, it has to be isolated from the ground, not just physically off the. Okay.
Yes. Right.
All right.
Yep. So when it's on the ground, it's an unbalanced load, and we're feeding it against the Earth. The Earth is the other half of the dipole, if you will. One other thing, let me throw this out. If I do that and I feed it as a vertical, remember I've got radials going out left and right. Picture in your mind's eye the signal, the other half of the antenna going down the right. I got a radial to the right. Let's say I only have two radials. One to the right and one to the left. And because they're in opposite directions, they will cancel each other out. As the electricity, as the RF goes down those two radials, one is going to the right, one is going to the left, they cancel each other out. They do not radiate.
Okay. So with that analogy, then say you have more than two radials, say that you've got like
let's
12
say there's 4
on the ground.
Sure.
Is there any pros and cons to having your radials different lengths, or are they better to be, we'll say, using the word tuned, as in the same lengths in, equidistant, spacing? I guess what I'm getting at, because I always heard this is that does it really matter your ground radials be equidistant and spaced, equally and, kind of laid out in a, clear fashion? Is there any truth to that at all?
If you're an AM broadcaster, yes. If you're a ham radio guy, not so much.
Okay. Yeah, I could see with the AM because, there's a lot of YouTubers I watch that are AM tower guys, and they, very clear about that stuff. Okay.
Yep. And that's my background. So yeah, that's really,
And is there anything in terms of, because I very early on when I started in ham radio, especially doing POTA, I was experimenting with the ground radial directionality. Is there anything to that? Is there actual? Yes. Okay, so
yes, there is.
And how much?
Okay, so there is, if you have you have a 9-foot whip on the trunk lid of your car. The signal is the radial field is the car itself. Okay, so the signal is going to mostly go in the direction that the car is facing.
Okay,
more to the front, less to the sides, less to the rear. It's like having a dipole, but it's bent. It's no longer horizontal. One is horizontal and the other is going vertical. Okay, so the radiation pattern is going to shoot in the direction that the car is going. So yes, it has some influence. What has more influence in the real world is the vegetation and the buildings around you. Okay, so if I'm at POTA and I put a wire on a branch up next to a tree and the tree is full of sap, the sap in the tree is going to influence my pattern directionality on a compass a lot more than anything else. It's going to absorb some of that radiation.
Okay. So let me give you my scenario or what I came up with when I was doing these experiments. So I had a woofer recoil, vertical 17-foot whip.
Right.
Most of the time I was playing on 20. When I was experimenting with my radial field in terms of directionality, some of my information or my results were primarily just in terms of where my contacts were, falling on the map. How accurate is that? Is it clear enough that if I was seeing, like, say I spread my pattern, my radial pattern, east to west, and I'm seeing, most of my contacts, north to south. Is that safe? Should I go to that level and say, they're a 1-for-1, or is it too kind of, too far-fetched to think of that way?
I think it's a great question. Here's the answer. As a ham, I think what you're doing is perfect. I think it's fine. It's the real world. It's real world results. If you're viewing it from an engineering standpoint, it has a lot of flaws because it depends on where are if your signal is going, let's say 360 around, well, there's very few stations in Antarctica, so they can't report back to you. So it skews the numbers.
Okay.
Right. So the correct way from an engineering side is to walk around the antenna and plot it with a field strength meter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you get a rope a certain distance and you walk around in a circle and you take measurements at every compass heading, and then you plot them out on graph paper and you see where the signal is going to go. And that's what MMANA's doing.
Okay.
That's the picture on the left that we're looking at.
Ultimately, it's giving you based off of what you're feeding it for information. Although in reality, your numbers might be a little different using a field strength meter.
See, nowhere in MMANA does it say, put a tree here.
Right.
Put a building there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It assumes you have a flat landscape. You can change the conductivity of the ground, whether it's seawater or whether you're out in a pasture or whatever. But it doesn't add, it's very simplistic. And that's okay because we need to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah, because I definitely, in my initial kind of playing in the experiment space where you mentioned seawater, I've got access to be able to head out to the coast and, can definitely see and measure more accurately per se at a beach and a setup there than I was if I was in the, open field with, in being in New Hampshire, we have a lot of granite. So, we're kind of very much, in that dry kind of arid, with a little bit of moisture, but not as much as we'd see on the coast.
Right. So let's talk about New Hampshire radio for just a second. So WGIR AM is right next to the Merrimack River. It's a directional antenna. It has to be to get the signal into downtown Manchester. Okay. It has a lot of vegetation around it. It has a lot of buildings around it. They all influence the pattern. Conversely, if you looked at WBZ in Hull, though they're using two end-fed half waves in phase on a wide open ocean.
Okay.
It's like the ultimate, and that's why they can't claim it now because there's so much noise from switching power supplies. But when I was there, they would claim, and it was true, you could hear them in 38 states at night because the signal was a cardioid. It beamed out west.
Now,
very little went out to feed the fishes, but it all went west.
Went on the coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what's that antenna? So on the 128 belt over by you do it electronics since you obviously know the area. What is that setup? And I was always curious going by, like, do you understand what that configuration is or what they are doing?
Those are TV antennas.
Okay. So there's TV. You're right. Yeah. Okay. That's totally different.
Yeah. TV and FM.
Yeah.
Yep. They're not, there's one AM around the block from there, but most people don't even see it. But if you find an AM broadcaster, they're usually sitting in a saltwater marsh around this neck of the woods. That's the optimum spot. I've got one here in Yarmouth on the Cape. I talked about BZ. HDH is in, let's see.
We got EAA up here in Manchester.
Yep.
It's right off the highway. Yep. Interesting.
So 590 EZE used to be EEI. I don't know why I drew a blank. I was there. I was an engineer for them. Edison Electric Illuminating, 590. 2 towers in Meffa, and right by the Mystic River. So they're basically sitting in a saltwater marsh. That's the other half of the antenna.
Did not know that. Interesting.
Yep. And the other thing, and I can do this if I'm invited back, is show you that, I hear this a lot, and it's become a running joke. I say this a lot. I only use resonant antennas. Most of the AM broadcast towers are not resonant antennas. They are not cut to resonance. They're not quarter waves. Okay?
All right.
They use a tuner at the base of the tower to convert to match the whip to the tower to whatever the 50 ohms is. So that's another reason. I know I am probably over. I'm not making it simple, and I need to pull back a little bit.
But. Oh no, totally. In essence, don't worry about that because it stirs our audience a bit to ask more questions, and obviously Mike is in there throwing zingers every once in a while. But yeah, no, you are definitely welcome back, Hollywood, because I think what's going to happen is people are going to digest this a bit, and when they finally, when the episode finally gets released, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I got to do a lot more research. So we're probably going to get a lot more questions. So we're going to have you back. And at that point, if Ape is around and he wants to throw,
absolutely, that would be great.
Him on too as well.
That would be great.
I'm sure Ziggy would probably love to jump in there too as well with this 75 ohm thing, and people then definitely their heads will be spinning.
I've given you a crash course, and I threw a lot of material at you. So there's no quiz, but
no homework. Well,
exactly.
Wow. Yeah, I dabbled when I started paying attention to DX Commander and Callum and whatnot when he was doing a lot of this modeling. And when I dove into MMANA, I was like, oh boy, yeah, this is, it's definitely an engineering tool in the way that engineering tools are written. So if you don't understand the symbolics and the symbols and you don't have the time to read the engineering manual, then you're going to get lost fast. So, yeah,
but it's a very useful tool because it helps uncover the black magic, the mystery. What makes the thing work? The antenna, And once you get to see it for what it is, just the basics of it, you don't have to be an engineer at it. Once you see where's the signal goes down the wire and it comes out, why does it come? What is it doing? Then you start building your own antennas, and you're no longer on a chain with a shackle tied to your leg, and you go, well, I have to get this certain model. No, you can be a MacGyver. You can make anything radiate.
Yeah. Well,
It's funny because
when it hits the fan, you're going to need that skill.
Well, and this is kind of the struggle that I think, and I'm probably not alone. I mean, I've been a ham for 30 years, and this is still an eye opener for me. But I can only feel like the new technicians that I see all the time, and I encourage just to get on the air. Like when we start talking about this stuff, it's just like I was told you to study the questions, and that was it. And then and then you get into this, totally. Like really, and so. This is always good to drive home a lot, I think, consistently over and over again. So that, we were, to get back to my point, we're definitely going to have you guys on more just because it will start to sink in. And then eventually Todd will start having more and more questions because this will all of a sudden like click for him and it'll be like, oh, this makes sense.
Well, he answered a question I had when I was a kid. I grew up in New Jersey and I used to get WBZ at night.
Yes.
On my little AM clock radio. And sometimes I'll get 10-10 wins here.
Yes.
In New Hampshire, out of New York. And it's only at night, though. And, that explained it. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I can get Boston from New Jersey. But.
Oh, it's a trip. It's a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. WKBW in Buffalo used to come in and would zero beat because it was one channel away from MEX in Quincy. And then when MEX was a daytimer and it went off at night, here's KBW full blast. It was great.
Awesome, dude. Paul, you got anything you want to throw in?
Well, I just got to say, listen. When it comes to antennas, experiment, try it, right? Because, so when I was at Ziggy's house, he showed me this 21-foot pole, and it was literally a piece of chain link fence. And he's like, I want to turn this into an antenna. And I was like, let's do it. And we did. And we talked to Italy, getting 5.9 signals. We talked to Hollywood, and we were getting good signals.
Remember that guy we had out in the Midwest that talked to Boston on a shovel?
Oh, you're talking about Kevin.
Kevin. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. A shovel.
QRP.
Corn stalks on the air.
Yeah. The best one was the best one was, I thought it was the trampoline. I thought that was pretty awesome.
That frame. It turned it into a loop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we didn't even cover today, which thank God, because at that point I would be in a loop.
Yeah.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah.
Those antennas are painful for some and lost, I should say, but all right. Well, any last kind of things you want to throw out there to give, some encouragement to folks as they're kind of modeling and dealing with getting into the vast deep sea of antenna building?
Play with the software. You cannot break it. Don't worry about it. If you get a headache, take 2 aspirin, call me in the morning.
Good advice.
From Doc Hollywood.
Right.
Straight from Doc Hollywood.
Well, we will definitely have you on again, Hollywood, and we'll definitely bring some of the other more experts, Ape and 75 Ohm, who have been so eloquently adding to the chat and just like making everything that much better. So I applaud you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And so with that, let's kind of put a little wrap to today's show. So as always, you guys can head over to our Discord and check us out there. And let me go back to my notes. Here we go. There we go. So check us out there. Our link is in the show notes below and is in all of our descriptions and on our website. And join in on the conversation because I am sure after this is all done, people are going to have a lot more questions. So hopefully we'll be able to funnel those to Hollywood and, we can get more conversation going and getting folks interested and starting to learn more about antennas and the whole world of RF and as Mike says, RF and find out is really kind of what it boils down to, I think. So yeah, outside of that, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch all the excellent stuff there. And don't forget on the 20th is our Shack Roast. So keep an eye out for that. And if you always want to leave us a message, you can do so by giving us a ring on 978-233-1142 and we'll play it in our next episode. And you can always support our show using the Patreon or buy us at Beer Links. And head over to livefreeandham.com to learn about our swag, any of the latest show notes, and all about our contact and host info. So with that, thank you again for listening. And from all of us at Live Free and Ham, 7-3.